Dennis, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Dennis! Come on, man. Glazed donuts suck.
When I was in high school, I used to do the announcements. I was student council president. I was, right? I know, it was very hard to believe that I was president of the school. That's right. Mayor. Just like in Back to the Future. Mayor. I'm going to clean up this town. You'll see. You're good. You can start by mopping the floor.
That's funny. So you did the announcements.
So I did the announcements, and I would end every day with saying, like, you know, oh, so-and-so won this award, and so-and-so got an A on their test, or whatever the hell the announcements were. You know, the cross-country took second last week, blah, blah, yeah. And then, all right, those are the announcements for today. Have a hectic day. And I ended them, because I listened to Paul on the way to work.
That's awesome.
Or on the way to school every day.
That's awesome.
And sure enough, like, all the kids, like, thought it was the coolest thing, because back in high school, like, you know, Paul's a little older now. And maybe he serves to more of a mature audience at this point. But back when I was in high school, Paul Castronova was like the DJ.
Yeah.
Right, that everybody listened to.
And then he kind of followed all of you as you got older. And
yeah, and there was no social media, and there was no technology. It was just like you listened to the radio or like a CD.
Yep.
Well, we didn't even have CD players in the cars yet. We had to get that thing where you put the tape in. Right? And then, like, if you went over the train tracks, it would bounce and skip, and you'd be like, oh, so you'd have to, everyone in the car would prepare for it. Like, we're going over the tracks, don't let the CD skip.
I have one of those.
Do you really?
I have a 1999 F-250 with 330,000 miles on it, and I refuse to get rid of it.
Come on.
It's just, she's hopefully not hanging by a thread, but it's close.
Is she here today?
No. You can't drive it all the way from Stewart to here.
All right. I was just,
that's
I was
close to home.
going to say that's pretty impressive.
That's a close to home, so I can make the call to my wife, like, it's broken again. Could you come and get me? 95 North, Becker Road.
Yeah, so one of my classmates or whatever called into the radio show, and you're like, you know, D.Friel at Carnegie High School does the announcements every day to have a hectic day, right? So, like, he gave me like a couple of shout outs. So I see him like years later. Yeah. This is actually only a couple of years ago now. Back in high school, it was a long time ago. So I said, hey, I told him the whole story. And he was like in VIP at Tortuga. And so was I. But he was like, yeah, that's great, kid. I'm like, you don't care? Like, I've been telling this story for years. You really don't care that much about it. Don't meet your heroes.
That's cute. Yeah. Oh, dude. Big disappointments.
Yeah. So, I'm going to welcome Captain John Van Dellen to Connected by Water, presented by Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are here today with a very well-respected captain, and no, it's true.
Depending on the day of the week.
Well, today
and if you talk to my crew.
Today is Tuesday. It's the day after Memorial Day, and you know, a lot of times we been known to have a beer or two on the show, but when the Singularis program comes to play, they bring champagne and mimosas. So I thank you, sir.
No problem.
A lot fancier than we're used to dealing with.
We try.
Well, we both of us have to figure out how to open
honestly
a bottle of champagne. And you know, I'm usually beer and salsa chips. You want me to give it a shot?
You'd give it a shot.
All right. Let's see here.
Point it away.
So one would assume the paper has to come off first.
Yep.
All right.
And I've done this like twice in my life. The last time on Mother's Day for my wife.
Okay.
So
I think it was one of my kids' baptisms. I think it was one.
The last time for you?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. You know, one time my wife and I were hanging. Someone gave us champagne. We never drank it. One time we had those horizontal wine rack in the house.
Oh no.
And we're just sitting there watching a movie, and all of a sudden, boom! Like a shot goes off. The thing went off. Like the top of the bottle broke and everything just like shot across the room. Yeah. Thank God the kids were asleep and weren't standing in front of that thing.
I need to keep safer things around the house. Never had that happen with a Miller Lite. And if it does.
Miller Lite don't roll like that.
Yeah, no.
All right. So we got we're
You're supposed to take all. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I guess I took the whole thing.
Take the whole thing off, I guess.
So, what is this?
That's the Vouv.
Vouv?
I hear it's the stuff.
Vouv
Cliquois.
Cliquois?
Qua.
Oh, John knows. John knows. See,
I had that
listen.
stuff on my wedding.
Oh, you did?
Did?
Yeah.
So here's the thing
Invite
about
me
John.
to your wedding.
Here's the thing about John. Like, you see those movies where it's like you got the host that's like an idiot, and then
Yeah.
you got the guy behind the camera who's like really smart and like rolls his eyes at him all the time. That's him.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And I'm the idiot. Clou, 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 and he busts out the cliquois.
He knows. He knows.
All right.
I figured it would be appropriate to have like a
So
60 bottle.
You want to instruct me through this, Mr.
How do you-
just
Yeah, just
unwind it?
Yeah, just unwind that
Should I
thing.
point it right at John?
No.
It won't come out yet.
So I'm just going to hold it straight up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we'll shatter the light up there if anything.
All right, let me make sure we got a soft spot of like drop ceiling tile here. Right? Don't mind the big water spot up there, John.
I see that.
I'm
Good.
going to call Ariel about that. All right, so I'm unwinding. All
It
right.
won't.
I am
it won't
always
shoot out.
scared.
Pop
I'm
up?
scared
No.
at this point. I'm scared. Like I
So I
hold
get
it
to-
away. Like
Yeah.
All right, anything that needs a cage.
yeah.
That's a closer. There you go. There's your souvenir. Oh, who's that lady?
Yeah. Who is that, John?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can we do some research on that?
Yeah,
Find out who
sure.
that lady is? There's a lady on the top of the cliquois. Maybe that's lady Mrs. Vouv. All right, so
If you don't want it to go flying, you can just kind of twist it with your hand, unless you want to pop it.
we want it to go flying.
All
We
right.
want it to go flying.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Do it. Do it.
I don't think this is gonna. Let's see here. Are you ready?
Ready?
All right,
Got to give it some force.
I see that.
This is
You got.
way
You might.
anticlimactic.
You might have to
Like,
twist it a little bit first. Yeah.
Get it started just a little.
Oh, here we go. It's coming. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa!
Bam! Look at that, frosty.
There we go.
All right.
All
so
right.
here. Guest class first.
All right.
All right, and
I will.
are you a mimosa maker? I'm not a mimosa maker,
You
so
pour the champagne and then I'll
How
put
much
the
in?
proper amount of more champagne than orange juice.
I like that way.
Yeah, I think that's smart. More than that.
More than that?
Yeah, I need more than that.
All right.
All right, good. You're good.
Whoa.
You're good.
All right.
All right, good deal.
So, yeah, watch out for the seam.
How's this looking?
So, okay.
My wife says pinky out.
Pinky out. Oh, whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that. Ooh, that's some
Make
talent
sure to
right
get
there.
John.
There you
John's-
go. All right.
All right, so. Oh, you're gonna have to pour more.
Jenny didn't want one?
How is this supposed to go? Is this like wine where you only fill the bottom, or
I don't know.
I don't even know either.
You're the one that runs the Bayless.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
me.
here we go. Let's. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's all right. That's all right.
A little bit.
We got
Okay.
plenty of napkins around the studio.
All right.
So we're making mimosas.
Yep. We're gonna eat a donut.
Very fancy. We're going to eat a donut. Oh, so that's another thing today. John brought Jupiter donuts.
That is something that's always on the bay list.
Right? That's always on the Bayless.
Not necessarily the Vouv, but
So I've never had Jupiter donuts. I've heard a
Oh,
ton
dude.
about them.
yeah,
All right.
it's something we frequent.
And I gotta tell you, I think this is the first
Thank you,
time
sir.
John's actually partaking in our little drinking extravaganza because he never wants to. He's like, no, I'm taking notes. I'm doing my job.
Well, you could take notes. All right, cheers,
So
buddy.
cheers. Cheers. So here. Happy day after Memorial Day. All right. Oh, good morning.
That's good. I think I've had like 3 mimosas in my life.
That's delicious.
Yeah,
You've had 3 mimosas in your life.
I
You make a
probably
fine
have.
one, sir.
yeah.
That's very nice.
It's got to be the Vouv and the
Got it.
all-natural orange juice.
Gotta be the Vouv. Very nice. I appreciate that. That's
Yeah,
lovely.
no
You know,
worries,
people
man.
always do that. They look at the bottle like that. Like that changes. Like, oh,
I like it when
that tastes
Pretend
fancy.
like you know what you're eating.
I want to act fancy now.
I used to
I'm
be
gonna look at
that
that
way.
label like I
Yeah.
know something.
I used to get all the craft beers and stuff and keep the bottles and all this stuff. I had it in my bar in my basement. And my wife's like, what are you keeping these for? I was like, it's just cool. Like, that's rare stuff. She goes, it just makes you look like a booze bag. Bottles gone.
My God. Well, this is a fine surprise, sir. Thank you very much.
Good deal.
So, welcome to the studio. You've been here before.
Yep.
But you've never stepped into the fishbowl and threw the headphones on. So
No.
here we are. And Want to talk a little bit today about a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Right. But first and foremost, thank you for coming in and squeezing into Sinks. I know you guys are about to set sail for North Carolina and head for the Big Rock, right?
The Big Rock. Yeah,
So-
I'm leaving tomorrow. The guys are already up there.
Yeah.
So
They're already all up there.
They're at Bayless. Yeah, they left yesterday, and they're there. I'm going to try to make it tomorrow. And we got a long work list to get ready. But we're
When
looking
is the
forward to it.
tournament?
The tournament is the 8th through the 13th is the fishing days.
Okay.
So it's a 4 out of 6, day deal.
Mm-hmm.
Fish 4 out of 6. First 500-pounder is $500,000. So
Doesn't
if you
suck.
fish the first couple days for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, right.
Hell or high water, we're going.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's just a great tournament.
Uh-huh.
Very family friendly, great community. It's something I look forward to doing like every year, man.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just great
cool.
to be in North Carolina, especially after what we've
I
all
hear
just
it's like a
been
big
through.
event. Like all these people show up from all over the place, and
It is. This year's going to be a little different. The big captain's party isn't going to happen. There's a lot of things because of social distancing isn't going to happen. But all in all, right now, these weeks, right now, the fishing's been really good
yeah,
so far. It does tend to slow down a little bit the week before the tournament just because the time frame of the fish moving. But last year was really good. They brought in like a 9:14 the last day of the tournament. I think it broke the Big Rock record.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. You say that.
It was crazy. We were all already at the awards ceremony, and they got that thing and weighed it. We're like, holy cow!
Yeah, cool.
So it's a lot of fun, and it's
Yeah.
like I said, it's just great to get back at it after like the last 8 weeks and everything everybody's gone through, and it's like let's get back some normal.
I mean,
I just
it's
wanna
kind of
be
happening
normal.
though, isn't it? I mean, isn't
It
it?
is.
Like we're
It
like
is.
it's kind of weird because like now friends that know friends and family, they're all starting to creep back together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No one wants to be like openly like, hey, we're we're here, we're non-COVID, and get used to it.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, we went over to a friend's house this weekend, and it was just kind of like we're all hanging out in their garage. And then he made the comment. It's like, isn't it funny how like we feel like we're in high school now. We're like hanging out in the garage and like like they're all trying to sneak around and like lay low. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
Oh, it's
Where's
true.
the beer?
Where's the beer? Did you drink Natty Light too? And like,
Yeah, exactly.
get the real feel.
Yep. Oh my God, it's been a long time for that.
Oh, dude, I couldn't do it. It's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, man. So I don't think we're ready to call it post-corona yet, but we're still kind of in it, and cases are getting reported, but testing is up, and
we're
that's
doing-
another reason why more cases are showing, which is good because if we want to know who's got it, so who needs to lay low and who doesn't need to lay low, kind of thing.
And I don't know about I know you do, but I'm glad we live in Florida, man.
Ooh.
I'm super proud of the local government and the way everything was handled, and I mean, God,
1,000%.
Dude.
The media owes Governor Ron DeSantis a big apology for the way they ripped him apart into pieces in the very beginning.
don't get it.
Listen, I got news for you. When it comes to trusting the Harvard and Yale educated Navy SEAL team running JAG attorney,
you're okay.
I think I'm good with trusting him
Yeah.
over what Joe Schmo that went to Kaiser College and just got a mic in their hand on the street,
I agree, man. I agree.
and it says about it.
I have a lot of family in Michigan, and just hearing what they went through, and these are like just really good people. They got a good head on their shoulders. They're not out to hurt anybody. They don't want anybody to get sick just as much as
Right.
anybody else. But I mean, I hear these stories just coming out over and over. Like a true green guy, all he's doing is fertilizing the lawn. Fine,
Right.
he's by himself in a truck by himself. And I'm just looking at it, and it's like it's heartbreaking because 20
Really
years,
is.
30-year businesses going broke, and it's just you gotta really be mindful of the people, because I know people have died from this, and they still are continue. Something's gonna happen still, but we gotta take into consideration depression, suicide, all these other things, broken homes, mom and
Absolutely.
dad fighting about money,
Yep.
houses split up. We gotta take that into consideration as much as people in the ER with COVID. We can't be so one-faceted. We cannot, because COVID will come and go, but those family problems, suicides, all this other stuff's going to stay forever. I mean, my dad passed away in 2006. I still have issues with thinking about it and everything else. It just lingers with you. So we got to be more open-minded and mindful of all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
I agree. And listen, I know. Listen, for every expert opinion that's out there, there's another expert opinion that counteracts that expert opinion, right? So, whoever says this and whoever says that, There's going to be some that argue. You really got to look within yourself and take care of your family, take care of your own, be an adult, make your own sound decisions, right? And, just don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
When it all comes said and done, and for God's sakes, stop arguing on social media with people that have no bearing on your life.
No.
Right? Because you know what? Nothing good's going to come from that. You know what I mean? And you're going to walk away with that, and all they're going to think is like you're an asshole. And you know what? They might be right. Who knows? But
it's the mimosa talking.
It's the mimosa talking. Yeah, already going right to the brain. But seriously, though, I mean, you can't do it.
No.
You can't just sit there, and I can't tell you how many times I'm like, the thumbs go off, and then I'm like, and I just erase the whole thing, and I walk away. And you know what? I never remember the person that I walked away from that conversation.
The sad thing is like, and I'm a forever optimist. Like I am glass half full.
No, me too.
All the time. And it's like we live in a great place.
Mm-hmm.
We have a great country. We have great men and women who defend our country.
Sure do.
We have great private business owners and people who have built corporations. We're smart as a whole, pretty smart. Even though Florida on the morning news, that kind of stuff. I
got a buddy of mine, Justice. He
call me
hashtags ILIF means I live in Florida every time like something like that happens.
But be it like. The government's got to realize and have confidence in their people.
That's true.
They do. Have confidence in us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like with my employer. Part of the reason we get to do such a great job and have the resources we do is he lets us do what we do. And he enjoys that. Now, if we get out of line or things aren't right, we make corrections and we have meetings and we keep tabs on that. But as a whole, we live in a great place, man.
Mm-hmm.
We really do.
We do.
Good people.
And do you think for a minute that there's this one guy in a chair pointing fingers going, I'm making this broad decision across the land that's going to affect all of you? It's like, no, man, they got teams.
Yeah.
Right? They have people that know what they're talking about, know what they're doing.
People.
Right? And there's one thing that the state of Florida has, too. We have one of the best disaster teams in the world in the state of Florida because we're just used to dealing with disasters all the time with hurricanes. I mean, so he basically accessed that team, say, okay, how are we going to handle this? How do you handle hurricanes? How are we doing? You know what I mean? And you're talking about a guy that ran Navy SEAL teams in Iraq. And you don't think that he looks at things from the big view and from the top down and says, okay, how are we going to work this? Who's the most vulnerable? You know what I mean? How are we going to handle this? And that's why our numbers are so good, because it was handled the right way. Yeah. And you went right to the nursing homes. You sent the National Guard there. You knew that those were going to be the most vulnerable people, right? When you cleared the beaches, you had to get the spring breakers out of there. Okay, no problem. They got to go. Okay. And then you can look at everything from the top down. You look at the way we handled it. It was just a work of art, to be honest with you.
And even this weekend, them closing beaches and sandbars and things, I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with
I agree
making
with
that
you.
play. And there's going to be plays like that along the way where we're going to have to do that. And that's fine.
Yep.
But it's
sometimes you can't walk on the grass, man.
It's calculated and purposeful.
Right.
That is it.
Exactly.
That is what it was, and I'm just super happy that we live here. And
well, you can't paint it with a broad brush,
no.
Right? Especially the state of Florida, because we're basically two states.
Yep.
And that's another thing that they don't see about him. He's got to manage two states.
Come on, man, keep up.
Yeah. All right.
Trying. I'm like nervous pouring this.
That's okay.
All right.
Oh. So we're just going straight champagne at this point. All right.
Nah, we gotta.
Here, I'll bring the soda.
We gotta have this local Florida orange juice.
Can we talk about Cuomo?
I don't know much about him.
So I don't know much about him, but I want to bring this, and we don't. All right, how did I get into so much politics lately?
Oh man,
I used to never talk politics on this show, and now it's like
it was Jeff.
It was Jeff. Jeff got me rolling. Jeff Maggio, the Lunker Dog, got me rolling on politics. Thanks, Jeff. When Donald Trump had built facilities and laid out medical beds and all this great things that we thought we were all going to be forecast and need. And then all these people in the nursing homes come in, get tested positive for corona, and Cuomo sends them right back to the nursing homes instead of these nice, big, beautiful beds that Trump had set aside for him, just because the whole response for Cuomo was anti-Trump and not so much let's help these people. And that, my friend, is partisan blood on your hands.
It is. And there's all kinds of that stuff rolling around right now. Because I've gotten it. We talk politics a lot. Our friends, you and I, everybody, that's what's happening right now. That's why we talk politics. But as for Cuomo in New York, to compare New York to other places in the country is tough because it's New York, and I don't know if you've spent much time there.
Completely different animal. I spent a lot of time in New York,
it's
actually.
an
I've never been to New York.
I used to work
It's
in
an
the
animal.
music business. I've spent a lot of time in New York.
So people stacked on tops of
Yeah.
people, and you know, we walk down the crowded sidewalks, and it's just so crazy. But what I was getting to is I know that they were testing them and sending them back to nursing homes. I just don't know how much of that actually happened, how much is getting exacerbated on the news. Do we really know? We're going to know someday.
Let's
But,
hope.
I
Yeah.
hope, man.
I hope so.
But
It's going to be like one of those documentaries you find out like 20 years later what actually happened.
Netflix is working off the deal on
Yeah.
it right now.
Yeah,
It's
well,
going to be a blockbuster if anybody's
right.
alive.
yeah, New York's its own animal.
It is. So I would hate that job. Do I agree with what they did up there and the liberal policies? No, I don't. But again, I'm glass half full, trying to be an optimist.
Yeah,
that
no,
they had the
all
right
right. So
people
we'll be
there.
positive today.
Yeah, let's be positive.
We'll be positive. Cheers.
Cheers.
And
Cheers
let's
again.
restart this
All right.
positivity.
Let's get rid of the
vibe
politics.
Here. So, please do. Like, come on. No more politics.
All right.
This is
We'll
no
try.
politics zone now
We'll
at this
try.
point, John? It can't be. We're
Right
in
here
Chippewa Market's
at
coming.
21:33.
It's
No more
when-
politics.
until Chippewa Market comes back on.
Yeah.
Or we finish this bottle.
Right. Yeah.
Politics will probably come back.
What about that Nixon? So tell me about the operation with Singularis.
Okay, so I met with you last week, and a few of the things we're doing different. You know, recently we sold the 90-foot Bayless, and that went to.
God, that was a beautiful boat.
Oh my God, special! That was a special boat.
Yeah, we're
like,
proud to have done the artwork for that
Dude,
one.
It you know, when the boss and his captain at that time, Captain Jerry, put it to paper and started working on it, and worked with John Bayless. It took 5 years to deliver it, and I'm just
5 years.
5
Wow.
years to deliver it.
Wow.
And I'm just happy that I got to be a part of it towards the tail end. You know, they built it. They did a lot of great things with it. I took over halfway in the middle, and we had a lot of fun with it. And we did really well. And it was just an experience to be able to run something like that as like a one time, like it's one of those boats that doesn't come around that often.
Yeah.
Like
90 feet.
90-foot custom, no expense spared, just every detail thought out down to
Right.
the silverware and where you put anything. The cork puller had its own place.
Yeah.
You know, every detail was thought of on that boat.
It was so clean. It was so beautiful. That salon looked just gorgeous.
yeah.
You
So
know, I remember seeing in the bedroom too, the wall that went down. There's like the rack of guns.
that wasn't ours.
That wasn't
was
on yours?
Different Bayless boat.
Oh, was it?
That we had no gun racks. 0 gun racks on Singularis.
I saw that. I was a little like taken back. I was like, wow, that's really.
I know there's a few of them.
That's an impressive set of.
Yeah, there's a few of
equipment
them
there.
on there. No, it was great to just be a part of it, man.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. Like, I remember after getting the job, I woke up one morning and I was just staring at the ceiling, and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it because I knew the interview process. I was well aware of who I was interviewing against, and these are guys that are, I mean, far better fishermen than me. Like, I think I'm okay, but these are guys like Triple Crown winning guys in Costa Rica, and just really, really great guys. And it just worked out. Hit it off with the boss, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah.
And, you know, now Mr. Hendricks Racing purchased the boat, and him and his crew are having a great time in Costa Rica with it. And I couldn't be happier about where it went, because they're just such a world-class deal too. You know, they set a lot of standards like we do, and it was really sad to see it go, but I'm glad it went where it did.
Yeah, that's a good family for it to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good
for sure.
family.
Yeah, I
Very
would
good
say it's in
family.
good hands at this point.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
but yeah, those Bayless boats are gorgeous, man. It's one of my favorite custom builds out there,
That's
if not the favorite. But.
Yeah, and that goes along with even like being a part of the 90, feeling grateful. Just being a part of like the Bayless, John calls it the Bayless family, and the yard up there, and being able to see firsthand what they do, their eye for detail, the quality of people they have there. That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you go up to Wanchese, North Carolina, which have you been up there?
I haven't been there specifically. I have family in North Carolina. I've been
Okay.
in North Carolina proper playing.
Yeah.
But
So you go out to the Outer Banks, which is a long ways down 64. You just keep going and going, and you run into Roanoke Island, and on the southern end is Wanchese, and you drive through that harbor, and Bayless Boatworks is the first thing you see, and just being like part of that group of people is really it's awesome, man. It's such a privilege. It's just such a privilege, and I'm super proud of being able to do that with them. So.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it before we walked in. You know, my 6-year-old, about to be 7-year-old son is just definitely shown the promise of being like an engineer or some sort of, you know, scientific design, or he loves building things. He loves the science behind things, and it's just really just super smart kid and gets into it. And I always just kind of rub his head and be like, yeah, that's right. You're going to be the next John Bayless.
You should take him up there and just walk down the docks at Pirates
he'd be in
Cove and
heaven.
see all the old sport fish
He's
boats.
been to Merritt.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
It's just to see that. And I've been a fan of that since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in Byron Center, Michigan on a cow farm.
Where is that?
Byron Center, Michigan is southwest of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And
I've been to Grand Rapids.
I like Grand Rapids.
It's not so grand, though. We call it medium rapids.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
See,
you know, it's not like Niagara Falls or anything.
No, there's no real rapids. They're rebuilding the rapids in Grand Rapids.
They are?
They took it all out. There's going to be rapids there again someday. I don't know
Really?
if their governor will let them build them, but there's going to be rapids
Where's
there
the
again
flooding
someday.
happening right now?
That is in Midland, Michigan. That's up. We're
on the hand.
We're
Doing the
doing the
hand.
hand. It's up around here.
Okay.
Right there.
So isn't like Novi and Farmington and all that?
I think that's right around here, Ann Arbor.
Isn't that where you just pointed?
I'm from over here,
You're from over there.
like around there.
Okay, like Kalamazoo kind of thing?
Kalamazoo is directly south.
South, okay.
Yep. So the hand, you always bring out the hand.
Yeah, always bring out the hand.
So, but even growing up on that farm, and my dad was a Great Lakes boater when I was really young, and I got into the boats and Lego boats, and then we started traveling to Florida when I was really young, and I just always like eyeball. Like the conch house in St. Augustine was the first place seeing a sport fish boat, seeing them bring fish to the cleaning station. It's really what got me going. And, you know, luckily I ended up in Florida a lot later in my teens. And you know,
It's a beautiful
all worked
life,
out.
though, isn't it?
It is,
like, you
man.
know, just not even if like you don't have to be a captain or a professional angler or whatever. Just if you look at Florida and just even like up through North Carolina and like that whole stretch, like if you look at all that like in the right way, and it really is just. It's got so much charm and character and style to it that, you know, it used to be written off as campy, but now I think people really appreciate like the value of as our world shrinks and our spaces become smaller and the people get closer and population expands and everything like that. I think people are starting to see the value of those little slices of life like that still exist that are out there.
Still, one of my favorite things is if I get to go back to Michigan at all, which I have some in-laws there and a couple direct family. My mom still lives there. I drive down dirt roads and cornfields, man.
Yeah.
Up and down the hills, dirt roads and cornfields, and I just go.
Yeah.
Because it's just something, you know, obviously we aren't used to that here, but it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much more. I was in such a hurry to get out, and now I'm like, damn, I had it good. Four-wheeling, you know, tipping cows over. I never tipped a cow over.
You never tipped a cow?
That's bullshit, dude.
Never tipped a cow. People would tell me that. I remember when I went to art school in Sarasota. I don't know how it is now, but back when I went there were a ton of cow fields.
Yeah.
And then some of these little floofy artist people were always just like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring our sketchbooks and go to the cow fields and we're gonna pop over some cow dung and see if we can find any mushrooms. They used to do it all the time. They're like, well, why are you bringing your sketchbooks? You're like, well, in case the cops come, we can tell them we're art school students and we're just drawing cows. So they had a bunch of like pre-drawn pictures of cows, like before they even went out there.
Oh my god!
And then so if the cops came, like, yeah, we're just drawing cows for our anatomy class, and
Dude, I would totally be the guy that.
and they were just out there like looking for mushrooms.
Yeah. I wouldn't be looking for mushrooms, but I would definitely be the guy that slips in the pile of shit trying to tip on the cow.
Yeah, I've been known to slip in a pile of shit from time to time.
That's got me
On a
written
weekly
all
basis.
over it on a weekly basis. How old are your kids?
6 and 9.
6 and 9.
And my son's going to be 7 in a month.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, big.
All right.
You know, that number 7 is always that watershed moment as a kid. You know,
Yeah.
where you go from like baby kid to now you're like fallen kid.
I was just staring at my kids this weekend. My daughter, she's 9,
Yeah.
and they grow so fast, man.
It's crazy. This is a
nuts.
crazy age because, like, it's almost like for dads, like that, for a 9-year-old daughter, it's like I feel myself like just holding on to,
man.
just stop right there. That you're perfect. Absolutely, don't move.
Yep.
Stay like this forever, because I know what's coming. The teen years are coming, and all the baggage that comes with that, and she's already starting to show signs of her independence and all the different things, and I'm just like, and you're still watching Frozen. You're still like, you know, dancing around, and you're still coloring things, and it's like, I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm just scared now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so afraid we're at the tipping point.
Yeah, no, I'm with my daughter too. Is like, she's like, I love you, Dad, and
Yeah.
she's still, you know, Dad's little girl.
Yeah.
And we do stuff together. This weekend we watched Big Fat Greek Wedding, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Which some of it might have been a little inappropriate, but it's tough to find something that is appropriate. It's tough nowadays. But,
Very tough.
But like that type of movie, like I don't mind if it's warm, it's positive, it's, you know, I love rom-coms. You like rom-coms?
I do.
Okay.
We watched Failure to Launch last night.
There you go.
As I was, which is funny because my brother always gave me a bunch of crap about that because I didn't get married till I was 33. And then before I married my wife, I moved back in with my parents at 33, just because we wanted to like save up money for a house and everything like that. So I bit the bullet and I moved back in for like a year while I was, you know, we knew we were getting married and everything like that. So my brother always kind of gave me crap about it and called me Failure to Launch. Oh, you're living back home with mom and dad. Failure to launch. Failure to launch.
It's beautiful.
I'm engaged. Like, what do you want? Failure to launch. What?
Yeah. My wife did that before we got married too.
Yeah.
She kind of bailed on her place and went back with her parents for a few months so we could save up enough money to run off to Florida and live the dream.
Yeah,
kind
live
of.
the dream. I drove up. What's your favorite rom-com?
That new one was.
Listen. All right, listen, guys. All right, I'm gonna set this up for you. Okay.
We're drinking mimosas.
We're drinking mimosas. Talking about rom-coms.
Love it, bro. Keep it coming.
With a dude that's twice the size of me. Right? That's ran a 90-foot Bayless, fishes for blue marlin. Right? And we're talking about romantic comedies starring Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Ooh.
Have you seen Magic Mike?
I did not watch that.
Good.
I'm not.
Just want to make sure we're not heading down the wrong path here.
That is not my cup of tea.
We're going to have to eat one of these donuts. Jesus Christ. Should have brought my smoking jacket
today.
And that thing in. There you go.
Thank you.
No, it's that one, the new one with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, where she's the vice president or Secretary of State.
Oh, was that good?
Oh, that was funny, man.
Really? I got to check it out.
Funny, but what I think is funny, my wife doesn't ever think is funny.
Same thing here.
She leaves me insecure and second guessing myself whenever I recommend any movie.
Yeah. Does your wife make you watch romantic comedies, John?
We
watch
watch them.
she does, right?
Yeah, we watch them.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. You know, come on. I got to squeeze the truth out of him. He's
Yeah.
We just
he's going to
watched-
deflect this.
You know that show? What's it called? You, with it's a Netflix show.
Okay.
Is that a rom-com?
No, not really.
Oh, this is soundless. All right. Go on.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
All right. You watched This Is Us with her?
No.
All right.
No,
Good,
I didn't watch
good.
that.
All right. I just want to make sure we weren't going down the wrong path.
She watched
there,
that
so.
and talked to my sister about it.
All right. There we go. All right. I just want to make sure she wasn't trying to rope you into
So,
that.
if you think about a rom-com, just bring it up randomly throughout this conversation.
Got you.
Yeah. So
all those like holiday ones where it's like a bunch of
I like the holiday
stories
ones.
intertwined.
Yeah,
like,
around Christmas time, you watch all that crap and then
Love
it's great.
Actually and shit like
I
that.
watched 2 Christmas movies, Elf and National Lampoon's.
Those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, you don't need any more.
That's it.
Gotta have the Frosty one for the kids with the shitty animation and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, from when we were like kids.
It's so funny because then like some random Will Ferrell movie will come on and my son will be like, "Look, Dad, it's Buddy the Elf." In every Will Ferrell movie.
That guy is funny, man. I saw him in person. Like when I lived in California and I worked for a basketball player out there running a boat, and I'd go to Clippers games because he played for the Clippers. And every once in a while, you get glimpses of people in the friends and family room and stuff. And Will Ferrell is just as funny in person as he is.
Yeah, he seems like he's just always in character.
Yeah, he's. I think it's genuinely him.
Yeah.
I think it's just like one of those deals. Like it's him.
Do you think he's just schizophrenic and there you go?
I don't know, because I think a lot of his roles are very similar to.
Yeah, he might be just putting himself in a role. To a lot of actors do that. They put themselves in the role in their daily life just so they're just seamless when they go on
I
film.
have another friend who was very close, worked for Johnny Depp.
Okay.
And in the house, and definitely some role playing. Like
I can
you
imagine.
don't know who's going to wake up in the morning, show up for work. Jack Sparrow's in the kitchen, down in a bottle of rum. 7:30.
Oh my God! Hello, love.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, man. I got to see a lot of cool stuff in LA and a lot of not so cool stuff.
I bet. I don't know. I had a job offer to move to LA once, and I just turned it down. I'm like,
tough,
I
man.
couldn't. I've had job offers to move to New York too. When this is back in the music days, and I just couldn't. I couldn't live in New York and LA.
Yeah.
I can't do it. No, I'm a Florida boy. At the end of the day,
Where did you grew up? Right here, Cardinal Newman.
Born
You
and
said
raised. Cardinal Gibbons.
Cardinal
I went
Gibbons,
to
okay.
I went to high school at Cardinal Gibbons, and
awesome.
yeah. So I mean, I remember even a long time ago, I said to my brother, we were sitting in the pool one day, and he's talking about, oh, I'd love to live here, I'd love to live there, and I'm just like looking out in the sky. I'm like, I don't think I could live anywhere other than Florida. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like this is just it for me.
it's good living,
You know,
man.
yeah, that's it. I see no other reason. Thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem, sir.
Oh,
come on.
okay.
You can keep talking.
Now
Yes.
it is time for the. So I drove up to Michigan once.
Okay.
My roommate in high school. No, my roommate in high school. My roommate in college. Yeah, I had a roommate in high school. My roommate in college was from Novi,
Okay.
and his girlfriend, who went to that school too, was from Farmington, which is right next door to
Yeah.
Novi, right?
It's all like right there by Detroit, Grosse Pointe.
Yeah,
everything. Yep.
right. And so we were kind of just sitting around watching ESPN, and it was just before the Michigan State game. And he went to East Lansing for 2 years before he transferred to this art school. So he's like, oh, man, that's one hell of a week and blah, blah, blah. Oh, my, the parties and the crazy, and it's awesome. And she's like, oh, yeah, we used to sneak up there when we were in high school and for that week and all this stuff like that. And they just kind of looked at each other, and they looked at me like, well, you got a truck. You want to go? And we're in Sarasota, so like I guess Michigan's with like an 18-hour drive from there. And so we did it. This is before cell phones. I never told my mom. I'm 18 years old. You know, I never told my girlfriend who was back home. And, you know, they couldn't find me.
How was it?
It was one of the greatest trips of my life. Right? And so I remember calling, you know, one of our friends back at the dorms and everything like that. And he's like, man, you better call your mom. She's like, there are so many messages on your answering machine because he had access to our room. He's like, you better call her now. So yeah, like my mom, my girlfriend were pissed that I just like up and left. On the way back. Oh, so I want to ask you about the cider mills because we went to, there were so many cider mills up there, like apple cider. Like I never knew that was like a big thing. So like apple cider was like always.
I grew up on an old apple orchard. Like my dad bought it after they shut it down. So there's apple trees all over my yard every year.
Yeah.
Which I got to like rake, pick up while they were rotten, bees flying everywhere. That's what, yeah.
Really?
So, but there's a lot of it. In fact, my cousin, her and her husband run a huge orchard cider whole deal in just north of Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a big deal. It's good. We have some of our favorites. It's a great place to spend fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's when we went.
yeah.
That's when we went. She was like, "Oh my God,
best.
that's what kind of what they sold me on." They're like, "Oh, it's the perfect time of the year to
It's
go
the
there."
perfect time. It really is.
We
It's
surprised his mom. She was like, "Oh my God, you're here." She was awesome. And Rudy Spearschneider and Jen Bomarito. Those were the two people that I took.
Jen Bomarito.
Jen Bomarito. Bomarito! Every time she walked in the room, that's what we'd say. And Rudy Spearschneider. It took me a while to get that one down.
You need to get a donut. You want one? What do you want?
All right.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
What do you
so
want,
I
John?
think
What do you want?
I got a Reese's peanut butter. I think that's Butterfinger M&Ms.
So this is Jupiter Donuts we're looking at for
I
those of
think
you not
that's
watching here.
a Heath.
And just listening.
That's
a Heath
another
bar one?
Reese's. Yeah, that's a Heath bar. That's a Butterfinger.
I'm going to do this one with the M&Ms and the...
All right.
Are those regular glaze or are those?
They're regular glazed donuts.
All right, so
Just
I have a chocolate frosted donut
This
with
is
M&Ms.
an experiment. If you choose a regular glazed donut out of this box,
I'm gonna take the.
Really?
No,
Oh,
I'm
don't
gonna
choose
take
the
the
glazed one.
Butterfinger one.
okay, all right. I'm just trying to. There's really no experiment.
No, you can't take a glazed donut
go.
when there's
Yeah.
all those other ones in there. Those are last.
You bring this to the office, you
Thank
figure
you.
out who gets the normal glazed donut.
I gotta
If
tell
they were
you, John.
if they were the,
I'm happy that like 5 or 6
croissant
years ago I
glazed
quit my day job and formed this company.
Cheers, buddy.
There you go. You know, this is how we roll here at Connected by Water, and this is how we come off of a holiday weekend.
We're lucky, man.
Get
I mean,
drunk on
it's-
mimosas and start eating donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just we're super fortunate, all of us. I mean, to see where I am versus where I came from and everything else. Like I pinch myself, man. It's
I was
crazy.
trying to figure out a way to segue into this next topic.
Okay.
But there's really no easy way to go about it, so I'm just going to be blunt about it.
Yeah.
Since you talk about the appreciation for life,
Yeah,
I
man.
think you might have an appreciation for life in a perspective in a way that most people don't.
Yeah.
Being that you are a survivor of stage 4 Hodgkin's.
Stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I will be in remission. It'll be 8 years in September since my last chemotherapy.
Wow.
Yeah, man, crazy.
So you had a 1-year-old daughter.
I had a 1.5-year-old daughter, a newborn son, and
Oh, that's right. You got the Irish twins.
yeah, kind of, yeah. And you know, I just started getting sick, and things were happening, and a few months went by. Then about 6 months went by, and I finally. What was crazy is I had a doctor, and he's a great guy, and I don't really hold anything back. You know, he just did his job, but unfortunately, he had missed the diagnosis for 6, 7, 8 months, and I could kind of understand because I was still pretty healthy, you know, holding my weight and active and.
Well, you're
But
young,
then-
too.
Yeah, I was young. But that particular thing kind of hits people from like mid-30s to early teens. And then it kind of, the amount of patients that have it disappear until you get to your 60s, 70s, and then it shows back up. There isn't a lot of people, that have Hodgkin's lymphoma between that.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Like middle-aged, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, I came to find out I had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And as you can imagine, that was like crazy because you're still at that age, you're still like bulletproof.
I can't even imagine what
32
goes
years
through your
old.
mind when you hear that.
Yeah. But I mean, I had been having fevers every night, waking up, sweats. I lost 70 pounds in 3 months. My color was like yellow. I was like yellow. I remember at that time, my boat was in the yard, and the captain on the boat was going up and down the ladder to get on and off. He's like, "Man, you don't look good. You don't look right." And so I took myself to the emergency room on Andrews Avenue in Fort Lauderdale. Not emergency room. It was like an urgent care. And this young doctor, a South African doctor who was here doing his residency and, you know, getting used to being a doctor, he took a chest x-ray because he's like, "I think you got pneumonia." Then he came back and he goes, "I see all your lymph nodes are blown up." And so fast forward, I went through all the tests, found out I got stage 4. And fortunately, I hooked up with the Cleveland Clinic in Weston. Dr. James Hoffman was my oncologist, and they just killed it, man. Like, they killed it. What an unbelievable group of people out there, and it just the experience changed my life. I mean, since then, I still see Dr. Hoffman every once in a while. He's at the University of Miami now, so that's where I go. The U?
The Sylvester?
The U, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, Sylvester Center gets involved with the Jimmy Johnson crew.
yeah, man. Yeah.
That's because obviously with the Jimmy Johnson and, you know, Todd and Val being so tight with the University of Miami, they're definitely a big partner in that endeavor.
It's an awesome place, and just the same experience I had at Cleveland Clinic, I've had there with my follow-ups, and you know, I just it's one of those things. Till you're in it, you don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm so much better because I did it. Like, I'm a way better person than I used to be.
Oh, really?
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
For sure. There's something about it that just makes your appreciation level, your perspective. And it's sad that it had to come to that I had to like literally be close to dead to appreciate it. The life I had and the abilities I had. You know, one of the thoughts, it was crazy. I was laying at home after a chemo. I would do chemos on a Thursday, and it was 10, 11 hours in the Cleveland Clinic doing chemo. I'd get, you know, a chauffeur ride home, so put me in bed. I would sleep from like dinner time, on Thursday until about noon on Friday, because the chemo really doesn't set into your body that fast. You're just a little tired. And then I would go back and get a checkup and a Neulasta shot on Fridays in the afternoon. And then I would go home again that's when it really started to set in. And I would sleep till about Sunday at dinner time. Drink water, sleep. And then I would go back to work on Monday for like a half day. And depending on how I feel, I usually was back working full time again by late Tuesday to Wednesday. And I would work full time that whole week because it's every other week for chemo. And then I was back full service. I'd work the weekends because I was getting behind because of my chemo. So I'd work the weekends, and then I'd work the whole week leading up to that Thursday. And as I got better, like I felt better and better. So it's like I'm running up the stairs at the Cleveland Clinic to sit in a chair, and then they wheel me out in a wheelchair, sweaty, puking.
Oh my
It's
God.
just it's a tough thing. So when I see
Well, it's like everybody's worst nightmare,
it's just the
right?
most.
I mean, that you're going to get that news one day.
Well, you might get that news. Some of your family, my mom had lung cancer. So it was, that the shock of like maybe losing my mom years before, but she came through it. She's healthy now, been in remission for a long time. But it's just facing something you don't ever think you're going to have to face.
Right.
And it's just like, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. And it really makes you choose like half full, half empty. What am I going to make of this? Because I knew like I still had a job to do and a family to support the whole time. We had no family here. We had zero family. Like it was my wife and I, our 2 little kids, very, very little support. None. The in-laws are up north. My mom, everybody's up north. And so it built us up and it made me who I am, man. I kind of got like a mantra that like I started to realize after it seemed like the sicker I got and the more chemo they threw at me, the more like my spirit, my guts and everything in me like was getting more positive, more outgoing and fight
the right way, yeah.
But I think it's as a whole, dude, like as your spirit dies, as your flesh dies, as your flesh gets torn away and things die, your spirit kind of picks up and you get stronger and you get stronger. And we see it all over.
Right.
I mean, 9/11, all these wars, different things, human flesh, people are dying and the spirit of America grows and the spirit of the community grows. And it's like, for me, it became a point where it's like, I just need to live off this spirit, man. I need to take this spirit with me wherever I go and just let that kind of lead the way. Because all this other stuff comes and goes, your health, everything. But you can always keep a spirit with you.
See, this is one of the reasons why I was really excited to have you on today, not to talk about your endeavors in cancer, but because you are such a positive person.
Thank you.
And I think that that's what the world needs right now.
For sure.
And I know we kind of walked away from the whole political thing before.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to bring up the DeSantis thing in defense of him because I think he earned it. But I didn't want to get too deep into the whole COVID conversation because Lord knows that everyone starts getting back to work. That's all people are talking about. And I think a lot of people are kind of over it. Yep. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's just talk about normal things. But, it like the thing, you can't run away from it. It's here, so we got to talk about it at some level. But, I really think that your experience in bringing that perspective into the conversation is helpful to the overall COVID conversation because realistically speaking, people need to get a different perspective on this right now. Because at this point, we kind of know what it is and we know how it is and we know what to do and what not to do. And it's important that, maybe we do get back to work and we do get back to some sense of normalcy, which obviously we've been back for like a month now, but
I've been working a lot.
Yeah.
Social distancing, but I've been working a lot.
Social distancing and all that, for sure. It all makes sense with people you don't know. What I mean? But if you know the track record of of where all your friends and family have been and everything like that, then that's very helpful to the situation. But the perspective that you have for appreciation of life and the importance of, the value of going through that and surviving it is, and then coming out on the other side extremely positive. As a much more positive human than you claim to be in the past.
I would not be who I am if I didn't almost die. I mean, I really wouldn't be. And it's crazy to say that, but I wouldn't be. And to go along with like the cancer and, you get to a certain point where all your give-a-shits are gone and you can be brutally honest and you can be sincere and you don't have fear. And this goes back to even more of my background with what I went to school for and what I truly
that's
believe.
what I was going to say. We're both men of faith.
Yeah.
So that had to have helped you through that.
Yeah, no, for sure it helped me.
Because some people, they turn away and they get upset at
how could this happen to me? This or that.
Right. They take it in a very selfish way.
Yeah, I mean, it's listen, God doesn't ever want you to come down with cancer. He doesn't ever want you to do these things. We live in a world that is, we're flesh. We're human beings. I could get into why we're flesh and human beings and imperfect.
Please do.
Well, I mean, it goes back a long way to a snake in a tree. But really, I look at it as when I come across these things, God's given me opportunities to step up and out and learn and grow and be more than I was. And if you weren't looking at your failures and your challenges that way, you're looking at everything the wrong way. Listen, it's never his intention that you go without or you have, that you get sick. It's really not. At least that's what I believe. There are a lot of people that believe different things than me. That's fine. I respect their beliefs. But another thing that goes along with, getting better from cancer and going through it and facing it and all, I got rid of my fear, man. I got rid of my fear. Like we were talking about in your office, like you would have started this place a little sooner, or you would have done this a little, different, like, because fear holds us back.
100%.
And that's why in the Bible it talks about, like, God talks about fear. It says, do not fear. Don't fear. I got it taken care of. Go be who you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the freedom that he's given you through his son, Jesus Christ, and go be free. Because fear is what holds us back. It's what gives us insecurities. It's truly what limits a lot of people out there from their true potential.
I agree.
And it's not necessarily Christian people, Muslim people, whatever. Fear is what limits people from their full potential. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, fear doesn't discriminate.
What's the worst that's going to happen? You fail.
Right.
You still wake up tomorrow.
And even failure can be a positive thing.
Failure's awesome, dude. Yeah. Failure is one of the best damn things ever.
Yep. We fail on a daily basis around here. Just ask John. No.
Ask my wife how many times a day I fail. Man.
No, failure is the ultimate teacher.
It is. And the more you embrace it and the more that you use it in the proper way, God, man, you're going to have such a better life.
Yeah, failure is how you learn to do anything. Mm-hmm. Failure is how you learn to fish.
Yep.
Failure is how you learn to play guitar.
Yep.
I mean, how many chords did you miss and how many times does it sound crappy before you got the D, G, C down? And when you're first starting to play guitar.
I have no clue, dude.
Well, I'm just saying.
Put these hands on a guitar.
These are kind of short. They don't really reach like all the chords, but I do play.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What kind of guitar?
Oh, that one. That's the only one I have right now. I got the ukulele on the wall.
Okay.
And actually, my friend Ernesto. Oh, I got to tell you about this. My friend Ernesto is. They have a beautiful home here in Coral Springs. Very nice home in a lovely golf course community. He lost his job recently, but I don't want to get into that. But he decided that, you know what, I'm going to start my own business.
Nice.
I mean, online platform. And he goes, and they homeschool their kids like we do too. Right? We're all in the same homeschool group. And he goes, I'm going to buy an RV.
Nice.
And I'm going to buy a brand new Ram 3500 dually.
Tow it all over.
We're gonna go.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
He's like, we're homeschooling anyway. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna set sail, see the country.
So
teach the kids that way.
So not being afraid of leaving.
Right. You talk about facing
freedom.
your fear and conquering your fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure they're gonna have challenges along the way. And he's like, oh, I'd love for this to be like, we're gonna end up, everyone's gonna love it at the end of the year, and we're gonna want to move on to Europe. I said, whoa.
Not right now.
I said, get past Georgia first, buddy. Make it out of Florida.
The roads in Europe, bring your Dodge there.
Right. Make it out of Florida and see how it goes. But that's great. I admire him for that. Mm-hmm. Because that is something that not only for himself, because he's a middle-aged man, but the intrinsic value that's going to bring to his children. Sure. That's going to be the most impressionable moment on their life.
Yep.
And everything will change for them upon return.
It's gonna take away things that would hit like down the line, because they didn't experience that as a child. Like they wouldn't be freed up to do that as an adult. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things like I held back from seeing what my parents went through. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things I'm precautious of because of what my parents. I'm from a divorced family, and the way I approach my marriage is way different than what I saw as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I want it to work.
Right.
And it's probably one of the most, it's the best, that's the most precious thing in my life is my marriage, besides my relationship with God. And it's like, you got to protect that shit.
Yeah.
You got to, prioritize it and make sure you do that. But going back to it is, you learn from what you see with your parents.
Yeah. And it's easy to let your own ambitions as a man.
Oh, yeah. Man. Being driven and
combat that whole, the priority thing. Like, I got to have, the faith first and the family first. And, and the career for the greater good is my perspective of the family rather than the career for my fame and fortune and, and selfish reasons, because especially when you start your own business, right? But you could look at it in two different ways. Like, am I doing this to provide for my family, or am I doing this to provide for my ego?
Exactly.
You know, because
100%.
a lot of businessmen do get in there for that reason,
Yep.
right? And they think it's a game. And a lot of times when you start looking at it as too much of a game, that affects the other part of that.
You get addicted to that.
Yeah.
You get addicted to that pursuit. I mean, I have to keep myself in check because I love my job. I'm lucky. I get to do something that I love every day. So for me, if I have to go to work, I'm like, I get to go to work.
Right.
And my wife's like, of course you're going to work. 'Cause you have more fun there than you do at home. And I'm lucky. But I also watched my dad, who grew multiple businesses, franchise companies nationwide, lots of stuff, restaurants and all kinds. And I watched him and I watched how we grew up. And he tried. But it was definitely like him trying to fill something, like an unattainable hole that he's trying to fill up in him because he's got to do more and more and more and work more and work more. And as an adult now, I can see that. So I'm aware of it. So with Singularis and our work schedule, and I got to go to North Carolina for a couple weeks tomorrow, and, you know, we fish a lot lately.
Yeah.
We're fishing a lot. You got to keep that in check.
Yeah.
Because you're lying to yourself. If this right now, right here, especially with you and I, we're about the same age. It's about what we're going to leave behind. It's about who we leave behind as much as it is what we leave behind. So you got to think about that with your family. And I go as far as like my crew, the guys I work around every day. You know, I got, I've been so fortunate. I've got great crew that I've worked with for the past 15 years. And now I'm seeing deckhands that I had 12, 14 years ago. They're running their first boat. You know, I'm seeing like, I had a female first officer 10 years ago, and now she's the captain of a 112. And I'm watching these people that worked with me, and they're coming up and they're doing a great job. And it's like, dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like seeing what's the trail behind you. Not to take, you know, not to take like, oh, that was me that did that. It's more or less just to know we're doing something right here.
Yeah.
We're doing something right. The process is working and it's sustainable, and we're leaving something good back there too.
Yeah.
So
if you're in the fortunate position during the course of your life to take part or be a self-starter in creating a circle, that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
There's a big responsibility to it, you know, because that circle is made up of people.
For sure.
You know, you don't just make a circle of industry without making a circle of people.
No.
You know, and it's nice to see, you know, if people can grow within that circle.
Yeah.
In a way, you can look back and be like, yeah, I created that, but it wouldn't have happened just by. So it's like the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you ever read Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. You know, I took a world religions class once when I was during my non-art school stint.
Yeah.
When I was studying marine biology.
Okay.
But, you know, Joseph Campbell gets into, you know, if you see any hero's journey story, there's always a path to it, right? Like you could take the life of Christ, you could take the life of Buddha, or you could take
Who live very similar lives.
Luke Skywalker,
if you look at it.
right? Or the life of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. And George Lucas was a well-known and openly known fan of Joseph Campbell. In fact, Joseph Campbell had a hand in the structure of the way Star Wars was developed.
That's awesome.
Based upon this theory. Right? They were very good friends. But every hero has a calling, right? Which is a vocational respect. Every hero goes through a period of doubt in the beginning, or they're just like, I don't think I can do this. Then they come to their epiphany moment, and then they have to acquire helpers. No hero does it alone. If you look at every hero's journey, there always was assistance throughout, whether it was the Christ's 12 apostles, or Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Chewbacca, and you know, and they all had assistance. Even Buddha and Muhammad, they all had assistance along the way.
Yep.
And it's important because nothing is going to happen without that. You know, no one does it alone, I guess is my point. You know, but there are proven theories behind that. So
Yeah. Well, you're only as good like your team, man, your people. And that's something else that I've been fortunate to be. I work for a lot of people who have built companies and been successful very much in their life. And to see how they structure themselves, to see how they manage us as a boat crew, how they handle us on a day-to-day, it's given me just a wealth of knowledge in I think leadership, management, different things that I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't do my particular job for who I do it for. So it's all about the people, man.
Right.
I'm only as good as the guys I work with, and I'm only, I got to support them as much as I can and look out for them because a lot of them are just getting started too, and I don't want them to crash and burn. If you work for me, I don't want you to crash and burn. In fact, I hope someday I see you and you got a better job than me. And I hope I'm going into halfway retirement by then. But that's what I really want. I don't think there's any room for insecurity in success.
None whatsoever.
None.
In fact, it's detrimental.
Yep.
There's no faster way to crash and burn than that.
If you're trying to be successful and be a leader and you're insecure, you're going to hurt people.
Right.
And you're gonna do it the wrong way, and you're gonna hurt, maybe your wife, people that work for you, yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people think also it's just captaining a boat and just driving a boat around in circles, and there's a lot more to it than that.
5% of the job.
5% of it, right?
2% maybe. Yeah. Driving the boat is the smallest part.
Right.
That is not the job.
Because you're managing an operation there.
Yeah.
Especially on an operation like Singularis.
Yeah.
Working for Mr. C and the whole thing, and very great owner, and
the ownership's been great, and they treat us wonderful. I couldn't ask for a better person to work for, and the team that backs him up and I work with in the office, they're wonderful. It's just one of those things. It's just great, man.
Yeah.
And like getting to work with John, we have the 68 Bayless now, which I'm going to pick up from Bayless. Just about $1 million put into that boat. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait for all the new toys and trinkets and electronics and Seakeeper. And so it all got done up, and then we have a new build coming with John in 3 to 4 years. That one will be out, and then we're kind of talking about doing another build 5 or 6 years, out from now. So there's plenty of opportunity out there, and yeah, man, it's good times, bro.
Yeah,
good times.
Bayless is a good boat.
I think Bayless is the best boat.
I do too. I mean,
we had the Plitsky brothers on for the survey, and you might not know who the Plitskys are, but the Plitsky brothers are probably some of the most well-known marine surveyors in the industry. Fort Lauderdale for sure. They go to Europe, the Netherlands. They do all the Fed ships, the big stuff. We brought the Plitsky brothers, who are used to being in Amsterdam on a 80-meter Fed ship, to Wanchese, North Carolina, to survey the 90-foot Bayless. And they went through it over and over and over again, and they rode on it, and they literally, he said to me, he goes, "This is the nicest boat I've ever been on." And I was like, well, coming from you.
Yeah.
And he said that. And just that just is a testament to American-made.
Yep.
People that take pride in their work can do anything, man.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up too, about the custom boats.
American made, baby.
Yeah, American made, born and raised.
Yeah.
And most of them from this region of the United States. But speaking to some of the audience that doesn't necessarily understand the difference between like a custom and a production vessel, because there's a certain amount of our audience that doesn't understand that. Your production boat is like your. Yeah, and nothing against these fine vessels there, because they are fine vessels. I don't own one, and I'd love to have one.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like a Hatteras or like a Viking,
Yep.
Those are your production boats where they're manufacturing them off the line and they put them up for sale. Whereas your custom boats are your handmade, custom sport fish boats that you order and you work hand in hand with the boat builder to build a boat
just for you,
right? Just
Bespoke,
for you,
just for you.
American-made, all American-made materials and parts.
And, most of them are made out of wood with fiberglass laid over, which creates a little bit different ride. But I'm with you. I mean, I've run plenty of Vikings and Hatterases. One of my favorite boats of all time was a 2002 Hatteras Sportfish 65. It wasn't a fast boat, but, man, it just sucked them up.
Yeah.
It was one of those boats, I call them tailpipe boats, because when you get multiples and different things, they're up. They follow that thing right up to the back of the boat. They eat the props off the boat. It's just something about that boat going through the water. That 65 Hatteras was like that. The 90 Bayless was like that. Didn't happen to me, but the crew before me, Jerry and Tigger and the boys, they were fishing in Costa Rica, had a quad come up and back. They got 3, and they're like, where'd the 4th one go? Up the tailpipe. Straight up the back of the boat. In the exhaust.
Come on.
They followed that close. Thing went right up it. Just right. I mean, and that has happened with certain. I did it with a 65 Hatteras, too, and down in... we were in Huatuco, Mexico when that happened, actually.
Yeah.
So.
That was the place you were telling me about the other day.
Dude, Huatuco, Mexico is like, I love it there, man. And it's, I shouldn't even be talking. I don't want to talk about it.
You're letting the secret out of the bag.
No, man, no. It was one of those places, once people find out it's there, it's like going to be over. It's going to be over. It's north of the Tehuantepec, so the season, it doesn't get too bad.
No cartel.
I haven't been there in a lot of years, but I don't know. The cartel weather changes by the month there.
Yeah.
This month it's green, next month it's red.
That's crazy.
Dude, I remember leaving Cabo and calling one of my buddies who was still there. He's from North Carolina, and he's like, "Good thing you left." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Yeah, there's a shootout in the grocery store parking lot yesterday." I was like, I don't know if you've been there, but you go to the end of the marina, and the grocery store is like a block past the marina, right in town, right? Hard Rock Cafe, everything, Squid
You know
Road.
Sammy Hagar's?
It's a couple
I've never been to Cabo.
It's a couple blocks from Sammy's place. Sammy's not quite as far down, but no, like shootout right in the parking lot, and there's Americans everywhere. So
Yeah, that's pretty much like a tourist town, though, isn't it?
Oh,
Cabo?
big time. But I mean, there's a reason the cartels are fighting over the corners and the spaces, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's why they're there. So, but
The cartel guys they don't call them tourists, they call them customers.
pretty much, we're gonna go to Mexico.
Yeah.
And forget everything.
Yeah, literally.
Take a picture. I
Yeah,
won't
bring some drawings of your cows.
Exactly. Exactly. How's that donut?
That's so good.
I'm gonna leave all these here with you guys.
Oh my God, please don't.
No, I am, because I am not allowed to have this
Shit.
stuff.
Wow.
For evidence, I didn't even finish mine.
You didn't. I know. I was staring at this thing and I'm
It
like,
takes
you
a
can put-
while. John finished his.
I
These
finished
things
mine.
are outstanding.
Yeah, great, man.
I'm gonna give
That's
them
something.
So if anyone is in Jupiter,
yeah, there's a couple locations. Google them.
there is, right?
Yeah.
Jupiter Donuts. Go to jupiterdonuts.com and it says out of this world.
Yes,
And
it
I
is.
agree.
And this is something that, with the new charter business we're starting up with Singularis, there will be a box of Jupiter donuts on every charter if we are fishing out of Jupiter.
Okay.
I will guarantee that. There will be a box of Jupiter donuts there. And other than that, but I'm excited about that too. Working with Black Book and getting the boats out for charter and working with you on our apparel. And
Yep.
so we
got a cool apparel
Yeah.
program coming up.
We're gonna do
forgot to
that.
talk about that.
No, it's fine, dude. I
Yeah.
just want to throw it in there a little bit because
Sure.
for the longest time, we've had inquiries, people reaching out to us. They want to fish on Singularis. They want to buy some T-shirts. They want to. So the boss, got wind of that and thought about it for a while, and he said, "Why don't I give people the opportunity to charter the boats?" And we're going to use Black Book charters for the charter of the boats. Dates are going to be fairly limited. But we will have
So for anyone that wants to charter the boat, they can go to blackbookcharters.com.
Blackbookcharters.com. We will be going up with a schedule July 1st.
Okay.
July 1st, after we all get back from the Big Rock.
And I got to tell you, I got to give them a plug, guys. I mean, if you want an opportunity, I mean, as if we didn't just sell Bayless enough, to have a fishing experience of a lifetime.
Yeah.
It's not every day you get to fish on a boat like this.
No, it's not. And we're also putting up our 43-foot Jupiter, which is probably the most specced out Jupiter ever built. Captain Steven Rivero is going to be running that boat with Pete. Pete Michelli is going to be working that too. Highly encourage people, if they want to catch their first swordfish and they're in the Palm Beach area or anything like that, we'll try to direct them to the right time, the right moon, the right,
Right.
scene for it. And Steve,
Yeah, you don't want to just pick a random
you
time.
can't. You got to be calculated if you want to
convert.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Steven is a heck of a fisherman, and he comes from Miami. He actually just moved up to Palm Beach to work with us, so that's awesome. We're excited to have him. He'll be running that boat with Pete, and then I'll be on the 68 with probably Pete and Steve, and then we'll have a stewardess on the 68 as well to grill burgers, serve drinks, things like that.
Very nice.
So
Very nice. So
should be cool.
So some of you guys that follow the studio know that we do custom work all day long. That's really kind of the meat. Like, yeah, I'm a painter, but really the meat of our business is doing custom apparel. For operations just like yours. We're in big boats and sport fishing vessels and things like that. So we're going to be doing something a little bit unique with the Singularis family here. To where we're going to be doing a custom job for them, but we're also coming up with a line of apparel that we will have for sale on our website.
Yep. You're going to handle all our apparel.
Right.
We're going to start out with a couple different custom designs, see how those go over in the store, and keep making more.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
just depending on the season, we'll drop a new shirt, a new hat, a new buff. We're gonna see. We're just starting up and see where it ends up, but I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, no, we're excited about it.
Yeah,
It's a new venture for us. It's when we were discussing it, I got real excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
So
Man. We're excited too.
At Connected by Water, we're always trying to do things a little differently, take on new angles to the industry, and try new things. And
you gotta grow.
Gotta grow.
You gotta grow. If you ain't growing, gotta grow, bro.
That's what she said. God, you set me up.
I think it's time.
Oh my God. Boy, oh boy. What time are you leaving for Big Rock?
What time am I leaving for North Carolina?
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Like 4 a.m.
4 a.m. tomorrow.
Hoping to have a burger at Blue Water Grill in Manio and fall asleep and get to the yard at 7 a.m. and start going at it.
You got room for a stowaway?
Dude, come on. We always have room.
Two? we're going to get halfway there, and I'm going to come up on board like Helen of Troy, like, hey, I'm on board.
Tomorrow I'm going to bring the cheap champagne. Here you go, dude.
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
We're getting sloppy.
It's all right.
It's time.
My goal is for this thing to smell like a spring break bar at the end of every podcast.
Should have brought a cheap bottle and just sprayed it all over. But I got to be honest.
Is that it? We down the whole bottle?
The bottle's gone, dude.
It's gone.
Do you want orange juice with yours or you? Yeah.
Am I weak?
I'm going to put orange.
You were about to say something.
Nah, we got
You
it.
hesitated there.
It's good orange juice, man. All right.
It's got to be the Florida orange juice.
It is the Florida orange juice. It's
Yep.
Natalie's. They sell this at Jupiter
stuff's
Donuts
good.
too. Yeah.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
I bought this and I put it in my fridge, and my daughter's like, "No, not that kind. I want the Tropicana."
No.
It's like, "Are you serious?" It's fine.
No thanks. Family owned, freshly squeezed.
Yeah, man.
Just how I like everything.
Ready work, buddy.
What got you into fishing, man?
Into fishing?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it was from growing up, like I said, and
Were you catching like crappies and
bass, smallmouth bass, perch. With my dad camping as a kid, and then we purchased a home in St. Augustine. I think when I was 10.
I love that town.
It's the best.
Like my wife and I are going to retire there. I mean, if I didn't have so many roots here professionally, I would just up and live there now. We've looked. We almost did it.
It's expanded. It's way different than when I grew up there.
Yeah.
Like way different. So we bought that house there, I think when I was 10, and we would intermittently go, spring breaks, long vacations, whenever we could get away with school, and then ended up just finally moving to the Jacksonville, St. Augustine area later in the teens. And but I would always just eyeball the fishing docks and the fishing boats. And I finally got to go out. I think I was like 16. I got to go out, caught my first mahi, missed a sail, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it, and it just overall boats though in general, not just fishing boats. Like I love boats, motor yachts, sport fishing boats, all of it. I enjoy running the sport fishing boats more than running motor yachts. I've done both, just because of the relationship and the atmosphere and the fact it's like a sport. Like you're out doing something with a team, and the interaction is much different than a motor yacht. But I love the showmanship of the motor yachts.
There's some beautiful vessels out there.
They're gorgeous. In the discipline the crews have and the level of excellence you have to have, the way you keep your stuff, the boats are just incredible. I had the opportunity. I actually worked for the owner of Burger Boat Works for about a year and a half on one of his boats, and there was no fishing involved whatsoever. But it really gave me an eye of what excellence really looked like in that form. And it was a great opportunity. But after long enough doing that, I had to get back into fishing.
Yeah, my father-in-law is he's a scout boat dealer up in New Jersey, but he's just a lover, connoisseur of all boats. He really is. So every year, he comes down. His parents, my wife's grandparents, live in North Miami Beach. So every year he plans a trip around the Miami Boat Show.
Yep.
So every year I walk the boat show with him. And I love doing that with my father-in-law. It's really a time, and just the two of us do it. She doesn't come. That's a day for me to spend with my father-in-law, and I love my father-in-law. Great. Like we're super tight. He's like a very good friend of mine. Like we become good friends.
That's awesome.
And that is our day, and we just walk that, and he starts pointing out boats to me that I would never, ever look at. And he would start pointing out details. Look at the shear line of that one, and look at look at the way that one just sits in the water. Oh, look at that, because up in New York and New Jersey where he's at, they look at vessels completely differently than the way we do here.
Sure.
And that is the truth. It's like, even right down to like boat wraps, it's almost like they're non-existent up there.
No,
we're wrapping like boats like crazy down here, and up there they're like, what's a boat wrap?
Yeah, it's much more traditional.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool places I've gotten to go, and the Cape and Boston, Cape Cod, and all those areas up around Boston to see the boats and the varnish, the paint, the upholstery. Just so classy, man.
You see some of those old Chris Crafts are just
awesome.
so pretty, man.
Those boats were built like 20 miles from where I grew up in Michigan, in Holland, Michigan.
Is that where they're?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were built in Michigan.
They had Chris Crafts were built in Holland, Michigan, and up in northern central Michigan for the longest time. My grandfather had, I think it was a 54-foot Chris Craft Constellation, a wood boat. I never got to go on it; it was gone by the time I was around. But I saw pictures, and so our whole family was just into that. Into that sort of thing. But no, like you go to Sag Harbor, the Hamptons, see this stuff, the showmanship, the boats, just it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And that classic reminds me of like the North Carolina too.
Right.
Like the way John does it, the way Ricky does it, the way Paul Mann does it, Paul Spencer, the showmanship. It's the same spirit behind it, it's just in a fishing form.
It's interesting to go to the custom shootout.
Oh, it's cool.
And because I've been the artist of that for a few times, and so Skip always flies the artist over and gets to spend the whole week there, and it's really interesting to see, your Paul Spencer and your John Bayless and like all these guys in the same room just chumming it up with each other.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like no ill will or nothing like that. We're all just custom boat builders, and they're all just what could go wrong? What could be horrible about the life that they live, but. It's just interesting to see that kind of design power in one room.
The best part of that crowd, too, is like they're all badass fishermen.
Yeah.
I mean, John Bayless will put a whooping on you.
On the Tar Heeler?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I see what they do in Costa Rica and even last summer up in the Northeast and stuff. They're just phenomenal fishermen. And that plays into how they build their boats. They know what they need them for, what they do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. It's just super cool, man. Yeah. I remember the first time I met John Bayless, I called him Mr. Bayless.
Yeah.
How you doing, Mr. Bayless? He hated it. He told me like 4 times, my name's John.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Bayless. So if anybody meets him, say, hey, Mr. Bayless.
It's indicative of the industry, I think, overall. It's one of my favorite parts about the industry in general is just the laid-back attitude that most people have.
Approachability.
It's not stuffy. We're all just... when we first opened up the studios, I really pondered for like a half a day, just naming it Play Money Studios, because we're not curing cancer. No offense. You know what I mean? That's not what, we're doing fun things for fun people.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie about that. And that's my favorite part of the business is that I'm not, no one's life is on the line here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know, and I'll openly admit that, I love that part of the business that it's like, it's that we don't have to take too seriously.
No.
But it's stressful because you got to keep up with a whole ton of projects that we have and all things like that. But at the end of the day,
it's fun.
You're dealing with people's, enthusiastic, and making dreams come true in visual form.
Yeah. And that's, my guys, my guys do a great job. I mean, what we ask of them and how they can switch, like they were kite fishing last week here. Now they're going up to fish blue marlin, Big Rock. The diversity in that group of guys that we put together is incredible. We'll go to got to go to Costa Rica, be competitive. We got to go to South Florida, kite fish and be competitive, which we're working on. That's where we're trying to grow the most. But then we go to the Northeast, be competitive. But those guys, like, they get so worked up, and every once in a while I have to kind of pull them back in and go, dude, we're just fishing. Like, we're just fishing.
That's it, man.
And if you're uptight, you're not going to even be good at fishing. So,
I have one of the best two of the best captains in this room once a month, right? And Skip Dana and Art Sapp.
I feel like I'm like, it's a little intimidating sitting where Art Sapp sits. It's a little intimidating. It is.
Art's the man. Art's the man. Skip's the man. Right.
I don't know Skip that much.
Skip's awesome. Skip runs.
Really cool.
Skip runs Surreal.
Okay.
The 53 Sueños.
Yep.
And he also has the Fish City Pride there.
Okay.
The
Gotcha.
and that's been family owned for a while. And he's just a well accomplished fisherman. He actually used to fish with Art on the Native Son, actually when it was liquid.
Okay. I remember that.
Yeah. And those guys are some of the coolest heads on the water and some of the most accomplished captains there are. And we talk about it all the time on, nothing good comes from making an angler nervous.
No.
And nothing good comes from, you're not going to be efficient on the water if you're yelling at everybody because people will make mistakes. You're going to rattle people, and on top of it, why do you want to be like that?
No, you don't.
Why are you harboring all that negative energy and that hate on the boat?
And it's a well-known and said thing. Like you talk about, obviously we don't like to talk about people behind their back, but conversation happens and they'll be like, oh yeah, so-and-so, he's a yeller. They're a yeller. And I had a yeller. I got yelled at. I screwed up a lot too, though. He was yelling because I sucked that bad. But I did. I was horrible.
I love your humility, John.
Dude, I was horrible, dude. Captain's, I won't even give the name, but he's a great guy from California. He taught me a lot, and I actually called him like 10 years down the road and said, hey, I apologize for being such a jerk, and, I hope we can, reconnect. I really appreciate everything you taught me.
Yeah.
Because we didn't leave on good terms. But that being said, it's in the cockpit. It's on the teaser. I got the pitch out, and I Sancocho it, or I bird's nest it and yell. And, my guy, I won't yell at him. I will not yell at them because I want them to be confident the next time they pick up that pitch or the next time they go for a feed on the kite I want them to be confident and not distracted.
Yeah.
I don't want them they don't need to be thinking about me yelling at them while they're doing that. They need to focus on what they're doing.
Right.
So
you almost have to consider like their hands as a conduit for your voice.
For sure. In everything from fighting a fish, everything. That's one thing I love with technology now is we wear headsets the whole day.
Yeah.
So like for instance on the 90 we had to wear headsets because it's just too big. You couldn't talk and conversate. But like say the guy in the tower would call him out. He'd say he's on the left. He's on the left long. He moved up to the left short. He's on the teaser. There's two of them and they're talking in normal voice. All right, so-and-so's got the pitch out. So-and-so's reeling in the short. Put it into a corner this way. Boom, boom, boom. And it's just controlled precision. And then once the fish is hooked up, all right, let's bring them in, set it up. Dredges are hanging, and then we're in business. There's nothing good that happens from yelling in the cockpit.
Right.
There's nothing. Like, I mean, some boats have to because you don't have headsets and you have to yell from the tower. But even yelling from the tower, like, man, it's like, there he is. You don't hear what side he's on. There's a fish back there, but you don't know. And nowadays, because of technology, which is something I try to do my best in balance is, my head's in the dash a lot. With the Omni sonar, with the bottom machine, all that stuff going on. My head is in that dash way more than it used to be before we had these things. So the guys up in the tower are really my eyes, so the communication is key. Like the calm, calculated, professional communication is key. Yelling does not get anything done.
No. It's kind of like if you were to run a SEAL team.
I'm not even going to compare what I do to that.
No. It's like I'm sure you'd hear, or even like a 911 dispatch.
Yeah.
You would hear, oh, we got the perpetrator. We got this. We got, he's running down the alley there. Not like, he's running down the alley, get him, I see him on the film. They're like, no, he's going here. And then the people get that information, they react to it.
Dude, it's the same, even with boat handling. Like, I told you I ran motor yachts up to 145 feet. And, putting those boats in certain places can be pretty nerve-wracking.
You think?
But, yeah.
My buddy Jim Steele's got to deal with that all the time, especially during the boat show.
Jimmy Steele's awesome, man. But, try pulling into places like the Wentworth in New Hampshire where the current's running like 10 knots. And it's like, I've never seen a place like that where the tide's going up and down 14, 15 feet a day. And you've got 125 feet, a boat. When you're talking to your crew, you have to know your mooring plan, where the lines are going to be laid out, which one's going to the dock first, which one's priority. Hey, if things go bad, and as a captain, you need to know, well, if I lost this engine or if I lost, the bow thruster, how would I maneuver, what line? So those are all the things going through my head while I'm going to a dock with something like that. The sport fishing boats are much different because they're really agile. It's a much different approach to driving them. You're driving them, you're not piloting them.
Right.
With a yacht, you have to pilot it. You have to know really where it's going to drift, how much wind's in the air, You have to be aware of all those things. You have to set up your fenders, your lines, and you have to communicate to your crew calmly and let them know. Because if you're up there freaking out, they're not going to be confident. Their hands are going to be fumbling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's all in all. It encompasses everything.
Yeah.
The more calm you are, the more you can communicate properly.
I wouldn't want to be responsible for that.
I tell you what, it taught me a lot, man.
I bet.
It taught me a lot.
You think?
And it put me in a position to get back into sport fishing on the Singularis, because it wasn't a position that, a lot of guys have their thing they love to do, but if you're gonna drive a 90-foot boat with 5 full-time crew and go all over the world, like, there's a certain amount of experience you have to do that. And not to mention the machinery on that boat. It mimics everything we have on everything we had on a 120, 110, 130. The Singularis had the exact same stuff.
I mean, if you consider, like, just from, your skill set standpoint that you just mentioned, right? And then, you have to have the right demeanor to mesh with ownership. And just, being a good person and, just being able to run a team professionally and, having your ducks in a row from that standpoint.
You try.
Yeah, you try.
It's
but
just a constant
I
try.
think humility is a big factor in that. And just being realistic about what's going on. And you're a rare breed, John. No, I mean that.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
I'm impressed, and I'm happy to have you here on the show.
Yeah, man.
It
was fun.
Yeah. So,
sure.
Anything you want to cover here before we?
Oh, dude, I just appreciate you having me here, man.
No, man, it was nice. I'm glad you opened up to us about the all that personal stuff that you had to go through, and
anytime.
And I'm glad you shared that with the audience, and because right now I'm sure there's someone going through that struggle,
dude, for sure.
or there has a family member going through that struggle right now,
Every day,
and
man.
look it in front of you, with a positive attitude,
Yeah, man.
and you keep your faith, you can get through it,
For sure.
and just you got to fight.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Fear takes away freedom. Freedom
That's
gives
it.
life.
Or that Mike Tyson, you turn your fear into fire.
Exactly.
Right? Turn your fear into fire, right?
Yeah,
and don't ever doubt yourself, and don't ever doubt the people that you have in your circle,
Exactly.
and believe in them too, right?
Good living.
Don't you think so, John?
Yes, sir.
Hey, John,
All right.
you want another donut?
Maybe later.
All right, cool.
They'll be staring at me all day.
I noticed that with John having the mimosa today, there's not as many notes written down as there usually.
What are you talking about?
It's fine.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
fine.
I'm kidding.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
All right. Your ego is not your amigo. Right? Always do your best and let God do the rest. Right? Remember that if you're in the market for a vehicle, especially a Ram truck, go see Joey at Hardy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Talk to my man Dean. He will hook you up and tell him I sent you. It's very important you do that. All right. And don't ever forget that to always eat, drink, and be local. Papa's Raw Bar is doing their best right now to get open. They are really working hard at keeping everything safe and keeping everything sound, right? They opened up their sushi last week, so stop by. They're not doing sit-downs yet until June, but they do have a full menu for you to get and pick up, right? So please support our local friends here at Papa's Raw Bar and the Papa's Fish House. So, and remember that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're always connected by water, brother. Thanks, John.
Hey, thank you.